Hi guys! In today's video we will be talking about rev-matching. What is it, why we need to do it, how to do it in order to not break our engine and gearbox, and how to combine it safely with braking. Vamos! First of all, before we start practicing the rev-matching, let's see why we need it in the first place. Let's outline the problem which we want to solve. When we are traveling forward at a certain speed on our bike, our engine always has a corresponding rotation speed, a certain RPM value. Just for example, for this KTM 200 at 30 miles per hour or 50 kilometers per hour, in second gear its engine spins at 8000 RPM. If at the same speed we put it into the third gear, it will now spin at 6500 RPM. Now, let's say, at this speed, for whatever reason we want to downshift from third to second. We are going 30 miles per hour or 50 kilometers per hour in third gear at 6500 RPM and downshifting to second. At the very moment when we downshift, our engine will spin at 6500 RPM, which is not correct for this speed. In second gear, at 6500 RPM, we should normally be going 23 miles per hour or 37 kilometers per hour. So what happens is, right after we downshift, we suddenly have a quite strong jolt of engine braking. The engine spins too slow, so it slows down the rear wheel, hence this sudden jolt of engine braking. And due to the third law of motion, the rear wheel accelerates the engine, which is why we have this increase in RPM when we release the clutch after we downshift. So we can eliminate this jerking during downshifting by two ways. First is the way we were all taught on beginner rider courses. We close the throttle, pull in the clutch, downshift and release the clutch slowly. By slowly releasing the clutch, we are slipping it a little, which gives time for the engine and gearbox to equalize their speeds. By releasing the clutch really slowly, we can get rid of this jerk. Second way is to use rev-matching. The whole reason for this jolt of engine braking is that our engine at the time of downshifting has too low revs. So logically, we can eliminate this jerk by increasing the engine RPM just before we release the clutch after we downshift. Here is how the whole process looks now. We close the throttle, pull in the clutch, downshift, quickly open and immediately close the throttle, which is also called bleeping the throttle. This bleeping raises the RPM. And as we close the throttle, we now can release the clutch. This way, at the moment when we release the clutch, our engine is spinning at correct RPM, and we don't get this sudden jerky engine braking, even if we release the clutch quickly. Close the throttle, pull in the clutch, downshift, bleep the throttle and release the clutch. This is how we do rev-matching. This way, we have very smooth and fast downshifts, with zero jerking. Awesome! So, let's do a very simple exercise to build the necessary muscle memory for rev-matching before we start using it in combination with braking. Go somewhere around 30 miles per hour in second or third gear depending on your bike. Your engine should be somewhere in the lower half of its RPM range, or maybe somewhere in the middle, not in the higher range, because we don't want to over-rev the engine when we downshift. Now, do what we just talked about. Close the throttle, pull in the clutch, downshift one gear, bleep the throttle and immediately release the clutch. As you practice each time, try to do all this quicker and quicker. In the end, the whole process should become almost an instant. Your bike should almost not lose any speed whatsoever. Also, the downshift must be very smooth, without any jerking. That's the whole point. Great! Now, let's combine this rev-matching with braking. Before we do it, I'd like to mention our sponsor, Ultramax Cell, the brand behind those high-tech base layers, which in my opinion are the best thermal layers for motorcycle riders. What makes Ultramax Cell thermal wear so good? It is all because of the material, an advanced polypropylene fiber with a unique 3D structure. This design provides a compression effect that ensures the fabric to fit snugly to our body, which makes it work on the whole surface of our skin. And what's even more important is that this 3D honeycomb structure increases the material's surface area, allowing it to efficiently wick moisture away and evaporate it quickly. When we are riding in hot weather with ventilated gear on top, this feature enhances the evaporative cooling effect. In colder conditions, the honeycomb structure traps more air around our body, keeping us warmer. Ultramax Cell is a significant improvement to regular thermal clothing. I can highly recommend giving it a try. I'll drop an Amazon link in the description to this video, along with their direct contact info. Depending on your location, you might get a better deal by reaching out to them directly due to varying shipping options. Great! Now, when we are done with the ads, let's combine braking with rev matching. Normally, we don't just downshift while going at constant speed, right? We have to downshift when we are losing speed. In other words, we want to learn how to downshift with rev matching while braking. So let's do just that. Here is how it goes. We close the throttle and apply brakes like we do it normally. At some point, when we want to downshift, we pull in the clutch, downshift, bleed the throttle and release the clutch, all while still braking. In case you happen to know how to drive a manual car, you probably recognize this. This is exactly like heel and toe downshifting, except you do it with your right hand instead of your right foot. The only problem here is that we have to bleed the throttle without changing the braking force on the brake lever. It is not really that difficult, but it will take some time and practice to get used to. Which means exercise time. Just like the last time, find an empty stretch of the road, go around 30 miles per hour in second or third gear, depending on how your particular motorcycle is geared. Then close the throttle, apply brakes, pull in the clutch, downshift, bleed the throttle and release the clutch. And just like in the last exercise, we should end up with very quick and smooth downshifting, which ideally should not affect our braking whatsoever. So here we go! We learned how to do rev matching. If you are interested in learning more advanced riding techniques and becoming a better rider, subscribe to our King of the Road Advanced course. And also remember to subscribe to this channel too. Ride safely and have a wonderful day! Bye!